Loving you is easy 'cause you're beautiful.
Floating on sky by telling me a lie. Maybe you can't see all the things you've meant to me.
What if I told you that 1975 wasn't only about giants like Queen or Bruce Springsteen? Beneath those legendary names were songs that briefly lit up the airwaves and then quietly disappeared.
Ho, 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 it's magic, you know.
One-hit wonders that captured a moment in time before fading away. Today, we're bringing back 10 forgotten hits from 1975.
But I can't help but have my suspicion.
Some you'll recognize instantly, others might surprise you. Either way, this is 1975 like you've probably never heard it before.
Now I know how love can grow with each and every day.
Number 1. How Long by Ace. The moment that smooth intro begins, the song instantly feels familiar. Yet the band behind it slowly disappeared from the spotlight. Ace formed in Sheffield, England, led by the effortlessly cool voice of Paul Carrack. His relaxed delivery gave the song a polished charm that radio stations loved. But the real story behind the song surprised many listeners. Most people assumed it was about romantic heartbreak. In truth, Carrack wrote it after discovering the band's bassist had secretly been rehearsing with another group. The betrayal was real, just not the kind people imagined. The track was recorded at Rockfield Studios in Wales, the same place where Queen would soon record Bohemian Rhapsody. When it was released in early 1975, How Long climbed all the way to number 3 on the US charts. Yet despite that success, Ace faded almost as quietly as they arrived.
But I can't help but have my suspicion.
Paul Carrack later went on to sing with bands like Squeeze and Mike Plus the Mechanics, but this song remained his first unforgettable moment. Smooth, sharp, and timeless.
Well, you're friends with the fancy persuasion. Don't admit that it's...
Number 2. Fallen in Love by Hamilton, Joe Frank, and Reynolds.
And then you came and made my dreams man's reality.
In the summer of 1975, this song seemed to float out of every car radio across America. Fallen in Love had that warm California soft rock feeling, gentle keyboards, rich harmonies, and a melody that felt almost effortless. It was the kind of song that made long drives and summer evenings feel a little more romantic.
Falling in love, I'm falling in love again.
Hamilton, Joe Frank, and Reynolds had already experienced modest success earlier in the decade. But by the time this track was recorded, something unusual had happened behind the scenes. Reynolds, whose name was still part of the band's title, was no longer even in the group.
Now I know how love can grow with each and every day.
Dan Hamilton and Joe Frank brought in a new member, yet they decided to keep the familiar name so audiences would still recognize them.
A simple fate is at the gate, and girl, you've got the key.
The song was recorded at ABC Dunhill Studios in Los Angeles, a label well known for its polished, radio-friendly sound. Everything about the track felt simple, smooth, and sincere. That balance turned out to be exactly what listeners wanted.
Maybe you can't see all the things you've meant to me.
When Fallen in Love was released in 1975, it climbed all the way to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. For a brief moment, it seemed like the band had found the perfect formula. But lightning never struck twice. None of their later releases managed to capture the same charm or momentum.
Baby, falling in love, I'm falling in love again.
Still, for a few unforgettable months in 1975, this song was everywhere. The sound of summer, the sound of romance, and the kind of hit that arrives quietly, then disappears just as quickly.
Each and every day, it's relay at midnight sound.
Number 3. Sky High by Jigsaw.
I gave you love. I thought that you've blown it all sky high.
In 1975, a dramatic anthem suddenly filled American radio. Sky High sounded much bigger than the band behind it, powered by soaring strings, a driving rhythm, and the unforgettable falsetto of lead singer Des Dyer.
I gave you all.
Jigsaw had been around for years, releasing music with modest success, but nothing prepared them for what happened next. When Sky High arrived, it quickly captured listeners with its cinematic sound, blending disco-era energy with soft rock melodies that felt both emotional and uplifting.
Blown it all sky high by telling me a lie.
The track was recorded at Decca Studios in London and soon began climbing the charts around the world. In the United States, it reached number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and landed in the top 10 in more than a dozen countries.
And down like a stone.
For a moment, it looked like Jigsaw had finally broken through on a global level. But despite their efforts to follow it up, none of their later singles ever came close to matching the success of Sky High.
I gave you love. I thought that
The song remained their defining hit, a powerful, dramatic moment that lifted the band to the top before the spotlight slowly faded again. Number 4. Lovin' You by In 1975, a song appeared on the radio that sounded unlike anything else. Soft, delicate, and almost weightless, Loving You seemed to float above everything around it.
Just a dream come true.
At the center of it all was Minnie Riperton's extraordinary voice, capable of reaching breathtaking high notes that few. It actually began as a simple lullaby Riperton would sing to her baby daughter at home. Her husband, songwriter Richard Rudolph, later helped turn that quiet melody into a full recording.
And every day of my life is filled with love and you.
Together, they brought the song to Studio M in Chicago, a modest studio that perfectly matched the track's gentle and intimate feeling. Despite its fragile simplicity, the song quickly became a worldwide sensation. In April 1975, Lovin' You reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Much of its magic came from Riperton's remarkable 5-octave vocal range, especially the famous whistle-like high notes that became her signature. Minnie Riperton continued making music throughout the rest of the decade, but nothing would ever eclipse the impact of this one unforgettable song. Even today, Lovin' You remains her defining moment, a deeply personal melody that somehow touched millions around the world.
We will live each day in springtime, 'cause love.
Number 5. Magic by Pilot.
Ho, 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 it's magic, you know.
In 1975, there was a song that seemed to follow listeners everywhere, on the radio, in commercials, even at school dances. Magic had a bright, infectious sound that was impossible to ignore.
Never believe it's not so.
With its catchy melody and polished production, it felt like one of those songs. Pilot was formed in Edinburgh, Scotland, made up of experienced musicians who had spent years working quietly behind the scenes as session players. When they finally stepped into the spotlight themselves, few expected them to deliver a hit this memorable.
I love a sunny day, dream of far away.
The track was recorded at London's legendary Abbey Road Studios and produced by Alan Parsons, who had recently worked with Pink Floyd. His clean, expansive production style helped give the song its shimmering, almost cinematic sound, while still keeping the playful pop energy that made it so catchy. Magic quickly climbed the charts and became Pilot's breakout hit. But the momentum didn't last. Changes in musical tastes and limited support from their label gradually pushed the band out of the spotlight. Even so, the song itself never really disappeared. Decades later, Magic still sounds like a perfectly preserved moment from the mid-1970s, bright, upbeat, and impossible not to smile along with. Number 6. Dreamweaver by Gary Wright. Few songs captured the mysterious mood of the mid-1970s quite like Dreamweaver. Ethereal, atmospheric, and built almost entirely on synthesizers, the track didn't just sound different from other hits of the time, it felt almost otherworldly.
Fly me high through the starry sky.
Before this moment, Gary Wright had already built a solid career as a musician. He had played keyboards with the band Spooky Tooth and even worked closely with George Harrison on several of Harrison's solo projects. But the inspiration for Dreamweaver came from a very different place.
They still make me sometime.
During a trip to India, Wright became deeply interested in spiritual ideas and meditation. After reading a spiritual book that left a strong impression on him, he began thinking about dreams, inner journeys, and the search for something deeper. Those ideas eventually shaped the lyrics and mood of the song.
Climbed aboard the Dreamweaver train.
Back in California, Wright recorded the track at the famous Record Plant studio in Los Angeles. Instead of relying on traditional rock instruments, he built the entire song around keyboards, ARP synthesizers, and a drum machine with no guitars at all. At the time, that approach was highly unusual for a mainstream pop song.
I believe we can reach the morning light.
Released in late 1975, Dreamweaver climbed to number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 and became a staple of late-night radio for years. Its dreamy sound helped pave the way for the synth-driven music that would dominate pop nearly a decade later. Even today, the song still feels like drifting through a strange and beautiful dream, exactly the atmosphere Gary Wright set out to create. Number 7. Love Won't Let Me Wait by Major Harris. In the summer of 1975, few songs sounded smoother than Love Won't Let Me Wait. With soft strings, warm horns, and Major Harris's silky falsetto floating over the melody, the track captured the elegant sound of Philadelphia soul at its finest.
And don't say no, honey.
Before going solo, Harris had already been part of an influential R&B group called the Delphonics, one of the acts that helped define the Philadelphia soul movement in the late 1960s and early 70s. But this song would become his most memorable moment as a solo artist. The recording took place at Sigma Sound Studios in Philadelphia, working with producer Bobby Eli. Everything about the arrangement was carefully controlled and understated. The song didn't rush its emotion. Instead, it allowed the atmosphere to build slowly, creating a romantic mood that felt both intimate and timeless.
You owe it to yourself, and I will selfish.
When the single was released, it quickly connected with listeners. Love Won't Let Me Wait climbed to number 5 on the charts and became the biggest hit of Harris's career. Although he continued performing for many years afterward, none of his later recordings ever reached the same level of success. Still, this one song endured. Decades later, it remains a classic slow jam that continues to appear on love song playlists, proof that sometimes a single moment in music can last a lifetime. Number 8. 18 with a Bullet by Pete Wingfield.
If we only stay.
Not every hit from 1975 was loud or flashy. Some slipped onto the radio quietly, like this smooth soul track from London musician Pete Wingfield. 18 with a Bullet had a relaxed retro groove that felt inspired by classic American rhythm and blues, yet it carried a playful idea that made the song stand out. Wingfield wasn't originally aiming to become a pop star. He was mostly known as a producer, pianist, and session musician working behind the scenes in the music industry. But one day, he stepped up to the microphone with a clever concept for a song about climbing the music charts.
We got a smash double-header if we only stay.
The lyrics described a singer celebrating his record reaching number 18 with the phrase, "with a bullet," a term used in the music industry to describe a song rapidly rising on the charts. The twist was almost unbelievable. When the song was released in 1975 and began climbing the Billboard Hot 100, it eventually stopped at number 18. For a brief moment, the joke inside the song became reality. After that unexpected hit, Wingfield never really chased pop stardom again. He returned to producing and working behind the scenes, content to let this one quirky success speak for itself. Still, 18 with a Bullet remains one of the most unusual chart stories of the decade, a clever song about the charts that ended up predicting its own destiny.
Let me check your playlist, mama. Come on, let's make out.
Number 9. Poetry Man by Phoebe Snow.
You're hiding something sweet. Please give it to me.
Not every breakthrough hit comes from a huge studio production. In 1975, Phoebe Snow proved that sometimes a quiet, personal performance could leave just as strong an impression. Her song Poetry Man blended folk, jazz, and soft rock into a sound that felt gentle, intimate, and completely her own.
I saw you now. Oh, talk to me some more.
The recording took place in New York City with a small group of musicians who gave Snow the space to let her voice and songwriting shine. Instead of relying on heavy production, the song used soft chords and delicate phrasing, allowing the emotion to build naturally. There was a confidence in its simplicity, a feeling that the music didn't need to shout to be heard. Critics praised Phoebe Snow for her distinctive voice and thoughtful songwriting. The track quickly became her breakthrough, introducing audiences to an artist with a style that stood apart from many of the louder hits dominating the charts at the time.
You don't have to go, buddy. You're the poetry man.
However, despite the attention and respect she earned, Snow never found another single that matched the commercial success of Poetry Man. She continued making music throughout her career, choosing artistic freedom over chasing mainstream popularity. Even so, this one song remained her quiet masterpiece, a moment where subtlety and emotion came together to create something unforgettable.
You're hiding something sweet. Please give it to